All right, welcome to part 2 of the House of Gloi review. Last time I left off saying, hey, I didn't get a chance to really review the soap, but I'm going to say I actually really enjoy them, and for the price, that would be probably the number one thing that I would reorder from this company, just because it's not too expensive compared to like a regular bar of soap. They last a decent amount of time, and goodness, I enjoy some of the scents so much. Now, me being extra, we're gonna go to my handy dandy notes bin. I separate all of my perfumes and make notes on every single one of them. And I did that for all of these perfumes like a crazy person. I'm gonna say my number one thing is, because they are kind of like a vegan, more natural based company, a lot of their perfumes end up smelling like vanilla candle wax. Not great. All the descriptors for the perfume, so let's say they have an orange smell or the cinnamon smell or whatever it is, all of those kind of act like top notes, and they don't last for more than an hour at most. So that's kind of disappointing. So anything that is described in the perfume kind of just goes away, and that's not great. Not saying that the scents aren't fantastic. There are some very good scents, but I expect more from my perfumes. I also understand that I have a lot of commercial perfumes, which a lot of people are against for their chemical content, because there can be harmful effects in commercial perfumes, such as hormone disruptors, a lot of things that aren't like as clean as they could be. So it's a trade-off. I make it a point to spray perfumes on my clothes to try and avoid it getting on the skin, and that is my comfort level. So take this how you will. I'm gonna start with the soaps and say Winter Divinity. I'm gonna pause real quick. Everything was pretty well labeled for this company, but the soap samples did not include what the soap was. So I had to go through their whole soap catalog and look at the soap like bar and the picture that they had on the website to match up these scents. Could be wrong, but I think I got everything. So Winter Divinity is a sugary white vanilla divinity with a surprising jolt of peppermint. It's just a really smooth, soft peppermint. There's nothing fancy about this, it's just peppermint. Then we have Cranberry Wine. Sweet cranberry wine mulled with orange slices, blackberries, and winter spices. So this reminds me, this one and another one remind me kind of the same thing, but there's like little key differences. So this one makes me think of like going to a smaller mountain town. You know how they have like maybe a museum in an old building, but it's like a really small, just like someone's old house. And you have that little gift shop that's like kind of nicer cooking ware, and they might have some candles in there. That kind of reminds me of this soap. It's mountain town kitchen whatever. Or it's something that a child steals from a grandma to be kind of like ladylike. It is a nice smelling soap. This one's one of my favorites out of the 4-pack. It's just a little old-fashioned. If you're not into that, I would pass up maybe this soap. Then we have Rosy Cheeked. Pink grapefruit, fir needles, juniper berries, rosemary, and a sprig of parsley, and bright winter lilies. This is a generic fancy soap, like something you'll find in a gift basket or a fancy hotel. It's just like soap. Not as interesting as all the fancy scent notes suggest. And then finally, Heirloom Pumpkin. I want this always. It is so nice. It's fresh pumpkin, antique cedar, and dried sweetgrass with soft touches of jasmine, vanilla, and musk. So going back to that mountain town that has a small museum in it, every time you're in one of those older house museums and you walk up the stairs and there's a candy shop, specifically, it kind of reminds me of the feeling of walking up those stairs and getting an old-fashioned root beer candy. Not the taste, but maybe like the smell of it mixed with the old smell of the house and the wood that it's made out of. I love the antique smell that this has. So nice. On to the actual perfume. And I have some hair oils. I'm going to mention those scents here too. So Apothecary. Our notes are old books, bubbling concoctions, herbs, and creaking floorboards. A pure essential oil blend of lemongrass, rosemary, blood cedar, bitter basil, lavender, and the tiniest drop of vetiver. That just sounds absolutely fantastic. Kind of like the old-fashioned scent that I liked about the other one. I felt like this was going to be that. It is unfortunately not that. I get lemongrass. Just lemongrass. None of the cedar until maybe a little bit into wearing the perfume, but it disappears so fast. I'm kind of like, if you like lemongrass, get it. But I'm a little bit disappointed. It's very herbally, none of that old book smell, none of that cedar smell for the most part. Then we have Cozy Sweater. This is their bestseller, and that's the reason I put this in my cart. It's not necessarily something that I was going to gravitate to naturally, but I want to try their bestseller. It's pale skin musk, faded perfume, Egyptian amber, softly burning nag, champa incense, and a fine aged vanilla. Quite frankly, that sounds like your hippie uncle who brings a too young girlfriend to a Christmas party. I'm gonna say it's somewhere between that hippie uncle and maybe a nice Target catalog model in a cozy sweater. It's somewhere in the middle of those two. It is surprisingly soft and complex. It's like the scent shifts as you move, which is a nice, interesting touch for a perfume. I'd say most just kind of steadily have the same scent and then it changes, but it's still kind of steady and then it just fades off. This one just has that unexpected, ooh, what's that? And then it's this. I'm also going to say this. I don't know where this come from. It drives me nuts. But there's a memory somewhere in my head of playing Pokemon Generation 2. This sparks that memory somewhere in my brain and it's driving me nuts and I do not understand where it's coming from. Usually I can pinpoint something at some point. I kind of go, oh yeah, this is the memory, but this one I'm like, what is going on? So interesting. I'm not sure if I like it. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It's an enigma. This one's interesting. And then we have Edemonia. Warm ginger, coconut cream, Hawaiian sandalwood, and a drop of blood orange. So those pomodoro balls where you either cut up a slice or you cut up an orange and you stick cloves in it and then you bake it and the house smells all nice and then you take them and you make them into ornaments or you put them in dishes to decorate them. They have like cinnamon on top of them. This reminds me of those so much. And I absolutely love making them every Christmas, so I'm a big fan of this scent. Now I'm also going to say, since it has sandalwood in it and not cinnamon, that kind of replaces the spicy smell a little bit, makes it slightly more woodsy than it does the actual tradition of pomodoro balls. All right, then we have honeysuckle lemon curd. I am both obsessed with this scent and slightly disappointed with it because it is a rich lemon curd with a touch of fresh honeysuckle. Now I'm going to tell you a story. I don't look back at my teenage years with much fondness. For the most part, I've had much better experiences since then, much better friendships, much better overall life events. And this happens to be one of my favorite memories from when I was a teenager. My mom and I would go to Home Goods, and there was a lemon, I'm trying to remember what specifically the name was, but it was a lemon candle. And this smells just like that candle. It is absolutely fantastic. But like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, everything kind of just dies down to vanilla candle and the scent. I have so many perfumes, I don't want to invest in a perfume that's only going to last like an hour and then change into something that I didn't intend for it to turn into. So part of me kind of wants to get the full size of this, but I'm also like, you have more perfumes than you're gonna ever go through. So I think I'm just gonna stick with the hair oil. This is the only one that I got both a perfume sample of and the hair oil of, so I'm glad I made that choice. Our next one is a hair oil. It is Imp Peculiar Passion Fruit, mingling with the sun-cured apricots, perfectly pink grapefruit juice, and innocent whispers of wet mimosa blossom. I'm gonna say I really like this one. It kind of makes me think of just fruity alcohol, but not the harshness of alcohol. It's kind of a little bit softer. It is slightly fruity, just a very pleasant scent. Lychee milk tea. I will say, this is not one that I would have picked. It's a free sample that they sent me. So I'm judging it from a point of I wouldn't have picked this one, and I probably wouldn't have liked it from the start. And I haven't worn it to really try it, but I did do a few like swatches to try and get the scent. It's a tart lychee fruit and black tea met with a splash of coconut milk. This smells like cheap shampoo, like something you would get in some gift bag at the drugstore, something you pick up for an aunt that you kind of have to get a gift for, but not necessarily going to invest in a really good gift for them, something you might just pick up on the way to a birthday party that you're kind of tagging along with your mother to. If you really like softer, more clean, more shampoo-y kind of scents, I think this one would be a really nice perfume for someone who is not me. I'm not bashing the quality of this, I'm just not that person. Then we have Moondog. This one is unique out of all the ones that I picked. It's an interesting, probably a little more masculine than other things I picked out. It says it is Solar Storms Erupt, cracked coconut, dry sandalwood essence, heated with nutmeg and clove. I am such a big fan of nutmeg and clove, so I had to get this one. It's warm, it's sharp, spicy, and woodsy, but it's not Christmas spice. It's not baking spice. It's kind of just, I want to say almost male deodorant. That's probably the closest I could get. Not a bad smell, just not maybe as holiday as I would potentially like, or have those good connotations. I wouldn't say I wanted holiday, just like those connotations that I was looking for. And then we have Satyr, S-A-T-Y-R. I think it's a German word, forgive me. It's Italian blood orange drizzled with blackened vanilla. I actually lied to you. I did get this one in the hair oil and I got a perfume of it. And I'm glad I did. Okay, me trying to write a description for this was probably the hardest I have laughed in a really, really long time, because I could not stop describing it as, yeah, it's orange, but it's not orange. It's orange, but it's not orange. What kind of orange is it? And that's stupid, but it's very accurate to what it is. There's a little bit of sherbet to this, but there's also, it's richer. So it's sherbet, but it's like deeper, like it was boiled down and concentrated into maybe more syrupy than like ice cream. Either way, I love this scent so much. Unfortunately, it also dries down to that kind of like vanilla candle wax. Hate it! And then we have Snowflower, Hawthorn and Heliotrope blossoms, softly falling snow, cold winter air, and crystalline musk. This is another one that I did not choose for myself, and therefore I'm gonna not have a great description of it, and I'm gonna say it's just not for me. Yeah, it has that snowy air crispness, but the mix of flowers just makes it kind of bleh. I wrote in my notes and I forgot about this. It kind of like trying to eat a flower must feel like. Not a great pleasant eating flowers. That's what this one's like. Then we have Tenenbaum, fir boughs, deep woods, airy lichens, and cold winter air. This is, I think, the final one that I didn't pick for myself. It's not that I don't necessarily like those wintry kind of perfumes or scents. I'm not my favorite thing, and it's not what I personally want to smell like on my body. And I'm gonna say this, I had a tree in my yard of like the house when I was really little before my parents got divorced that was kind of as tall as a person. It's not like a full huge tree, and it was one of those slow growing things, so it was never gonna get really big. And it had these like tiny little blue balls on them that were probably just like poisonous berries that you couldn't eat anyway, but I'm sure animals loved. And it wasn't quite a pine tree, but it kind of smelled like one. It was more, I don't know how to describe the leaves. But anyway, this reminded me of that. I didn't like the smell when I was little. I'm much more a fan of other kind of piney smells. This one just didn't, it doesn't smell like a Christmas tree. It's not a lovely scent to me. But if you are struggling to find a more true wood smell of like sap and that sort of woodiness, this might be one to look up for you, because I know that is one of those things I don't think most perfumes do really well, is like a true woodsy smell. So I'd recommend it if you are into that sort of thing, which I am not. Then we have Twice is Nice, buttery sugar cookie with shavings of creamy coconut and topped with toasted almond slivers. Oh, this one's so good. It is like pure sugar cookie. It's like Martha Stewart level sugar cookie. The kind that is beautifully decorated and just fantastic, slightly crumbly bits of almond slivers on top. Just that fine little piped icing in the shape of a snowflake, and just like the almond and the coconut really come through on this one. So it's not just like plain sugary sweet sugar cookie. It's more sophisticated than that. There's definitely a level of class because of those like slight hints of unique flavors in there. I'm also going to say there's a lot of sugar cookie like Bath and Body Works hand cream, and you could probably go to Walmart in the Christmas section and find some sugar cookie, vanilla, whatever. This is much nicer than anything you're gonna get at Bath and Body Works or in like Walmart's Christmas section. So that is worth noting. It is a much better product. Then our final perfume is Vice. This one's good too. This one's really good. Turkish coffee marshmallow goo, tainted by graham cracker crumbs, toasted hazelnuts, and blanketed in black chocolate. That just sounds so good. And that's my description of it. It's a good coffee. It's like the kind of coffee that you pay for as a treat. It is good, it's lovely, it's nice. It is very warm. Like you smell it and it smells like warm. And there's a cool sweetness underneath. Nicely complex for a coffee chocolate scent. It's really, really nice. In fact, thinking about it, I haven't worn some of these in a little while. That's why I busted out the note cards so heavily on this. But out of just the memory of all of them, I'm gonna say that Vice and Twice as Nice are the ones that I would really lean towards if I was to ever try and return to these smells. The honeysuckle one and the star one, really, really nice, but I don't think they're as rich and complex as Vice and Twice as Nice. As much as scents are something you should enjoy and really like wearing and work for your day-to-day life, I also want to recommend those things I feel go above and beyond just smelling nice. I feel like these have a very uniqueness to them that's a little bit more than you could just get at a nice smelling thing. So that's why I wanted to point that out, and let me know what you think down below. Do any of these appeal to you? Do you agree with me? Have you tried this brand even? I know it's a smaller brand and maybe you haven't heard of it. And are you interested in it because of this video? Let me know down below, and thank you for listening. Bye! I just realized I didn't have note cards for these two. I don't know what happened with there. Pumpkin Queen and Persephone's Descent. Probably because I didn't quite have a metaphor for Persephone's descent or even a strong description of it. So I'm going to start with Pumpkin Queen. Pumpkin Queen is a Yankee candle, a full Yankee candle. Let's see what it actually says is in here. It's gentle hay pillows, pumpkin, ripe peaches, dusted with clove and nutmeg, and summer herbs, and lastly, a lovely crown of amber. There ain't peaches in here. I can guarantee you that. It doesn't come through at all. The hay, maybe. It's not gonna smell like actual hay, but I can see hay mixed with the nutmeg and clove to get Yankee Candle. I'm not super happy with that. I'm not a fan of those candly smells that are holiday. Persephone's Descent, I said I was really disappointed at how light the smell is, but it is a lovely one. Let's see. Florally without being flowery, if you know what I mean. It says it's pomegranate, pale musk, narcissus blossom, and black amber. Smooth, soft. Maybe I would describe it as being like kind of older fashioned makeup, but with a newer smell where it's kind of just soft and light. Maybe skincare-y. I'm gonna have to work on this metaphor. I'm gonna have to work on it. It's just nice though. I wish it was stronger though. All right, this time, bye.